Republican Representative from Florida, combat decorated Green Beret and member of both the House Armed Services and House Foreign Affairs Committee, Michael Waltz, joins me. Good evening, sir. And the American people are exceedingly generous, but I must admit that it must be exceedingly frustrating to most taxpayers to find out in 2 weeks after spending $320 million is that whoever developed this pier didn't have the wherewithal to think that high winds might cause damage, because now we're in a real fix.
Oh, Greta, what a waste. I think the debacle that this pier has turned out to be is really a metaphor for Biden's entire Middle East policy. I mean, anybody with any common sense could have seen this coming. I am told that a number of staff on the Central Command team, the military team responsible for all of the Middle East, briefed up the chain that the high sea states, the high waves, and the way the weather operates in that part of the Mediterranean, they basically warned the White House this was going to happen. But at the end of the day, this was all about domestic politics. This was also, Biden had a big talking point at the State of the Union, if you remember, where he announced this. And so he could virtue signal to the progressive left-wing base, the protesters at Columbia, and the voters in Michigan, over 100,000 of whom showed up in the dead of winter to register a protest vote against Biden. So not only was it a waste, he put our soldiers and sailors in harm's way. They've already been mortared and attacked from land just for domestic politics, and it's shameful.
And of course, I mean, one of the things that you didn't add is that we have 3 U.S. service members who were injured on it at one point. It's only been operational for 2 weeks. 1 remains in critical condition. 4 vessels have been breached in heavy seas relating to it. And we've got the Defense Department telling us it's highly valuable. I don't know how highly valuable it was when $320 million in 2 weeks and it's not working.
Okay.
It might have been better to spend that $320 million to do something else for those people in humanitarian aid.
Oh, Greta, the first 16 trucks that they finally got offloaded, 11 of them were ransacked and looted and robbed. Only 5 of the 16 even made it to the UN warehouse. And then they faced the same distribution problem, and everything's controlled by Hamas that the land routes face. There's no difference once it hits Gaza itself. Everything is controlled by Hamas. At the end of the day, you are funding and resourcing the terrorists that have attacked our greatest ally, whether it comes from sea or it comes from land. So it's just not only is it a waste, not only is it putting our service members in harm's way, it's, you know, feeding Hamas fighters just like the other humanitarian aid has.
Well, years ago, Wisconsin Senator Proxmire used to have the Golden Fleece Award about the waste in the Defense Department. I mean, who is overseeing? I mean, you've got to expect high winds and water in a pier that's in the water. I mean, who's in charge of this?
Well, I mean, you've got, the military was told to do it, I think, over their objections when they gave the White House all the warnings. How badly this was going to work, how they didn't have a plan once the aid hit land of what the weather was like in that part of the Mediterranean, and how at the end of the day, it wasn't really going to alleviate the overall problem. If we want to help Israel, then you cut off Iran's cash, you change your Iran policy, and you let Israel finish the job.
Here's another idea. Here's another idea. I'm going to take the last one. Let's start naming names. Let's start naming the names of the people who are such dumb, who are supposed to be in charge, are supposed to deliver this stuff and do a lousy job. Maybe that's we should start doing stuff. Someone in Washington. Anyway, Congressman Michael Waltz, as I said, I am taking the last word on. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.